Hi, Sean. Welcome to the Power Talk Show powered by Business Talks Weekly. It is a pleasure to have you on a channel today, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation. To start the conversation, I would like to understand what inspired you to start Momentum 360 and what is Momentum 360 all about?
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And shout out to you. This is a great experience so far. I really love working with you guys. It's in 360, it's an interesting story. We do a lot of video production, virtual tours, drones, stuff like that. And what actually happened was a pretty interesting story. I came on to an existing business already in 2018. I was a sales intern for an already established company called Momentum. My business partner founded it in 2015. He used to work at Google. He also went to Penn State like me and found each other through, various amount of sources. And I was like, wow, this is a great opportunity. So what I actually did was there was an existing quote unquote idea out there kind of in the stratosphere of doing this other side of the business. And I was like, well, I had my own podcast at the time. I had, a lot of experience doing video production, doing virtual tours and photos and all that stuff. I was like, why not? Why not start up this business, this other side of it? I think it's a great idea. And that's what happened. And then 7 years later, we are a pretty decent size company overall, which is great. So there's really two sides of the business. I handle the 360 side, a lot of social media now, other digital marketing retainers, and then the digital side primarily only does digital marketing services. Really, really cool story there.
So, what from what I understood from the website, Momentum 360 is into a virtual tour business, right? Can you explain more about that industry? How does it work? And who are your client target audience, right?
Yeah, great question. So, we've really graduated to more higher level types of businesses where we do commercial real estate. So, your office complexes, your medical facilities, your what have you, really, retail spaces, manufacturing, etc. In excess of about, anywhere from 100 to a couple million square feet. Because ultimately, the more square footage there is, and the more, the average ticket is, which is great for us. But the virtual tour stuff is very simple. So essentially, there's a 360 camera, and a lot of times people can just do it on their iPhone with the technology we have now. They'll then take 360 panoramic images of the actual space. Let's just say you at a coffee shop, right? A retail coffee shop, whatever. Do it, a couple 360s of that. And then what we would do is we would put it on a software to be hosted where we would add your logo, your website, we would add some music, make it look all spick and span. And then we would post it to your website, your social media, and your Google business profile so you can actually get more leads from the virtual tour. So it's a thing that's been popular ever since COVID. I think COVID was really when we started getting popular. And it's kind of, I don't want to say dying off now because we're still doing a lot of volume. It's just one of those things that I think everyone knows what a virtual tour is now, which is great. So we've had to really up our quality and up our game, which we have done, which makes us ever more competitive.
Wonderful, wonderful. I get the idea. I have even seen platforms where if you see the tour, and if you like a product, you click on it and it takes you back to the e-commerce store where you can buy that product as well. Is this something similar that you guys are doing?
Yeah, very similar to that. We do work with a lot of B2B and B2C companies as well, doing a lot of products and products of, I don't know. I mean, I have this water bottle here. We've done, a lot of these kind of things, a lot of watches and jewelry, stuff like this, kind of watches and whatever. But it's crazy. We actually did in Miami about a week ago. We did a funeral home. Well, not a funeral home per se. That's where we shot it. But the company, they make caskets. So they make, like for burials. And I don't know, man. It was a very ominous kind of shoot. My photographer, when he was getting out of there, he's like, "Man, I don't know if I could do this again. There is something in the water over there. I don't want to do all this stuff." He thought he was in an episode of WWE, and the Undertaker was going to come out and put him in the coffin, so to speak. So, but yeah, we do all that kind of stuff, man. Very, very.
So, are you more tech-enabled company, or are you a service-enabled company, or are you a hybrid of?
Yeah, great question. We're more of a service-based company currently simply because we're just providing, we don't own any proprietary software. We're just simply providing the shooting, the editing, the post production, And then we'll also do, marketing retainers on the back end, their website, ads, social media, that kind of stuff. So primarily a service base. But the interesting thing to your point and question is we have thought about making a proprietary software. I don't know when that's going to be in the cards, but I'm sure that's going to be sometime soon.
Wonderful. Uh, Coming back to the tech, how are you planning to integrate AI, VR, and AR modules into Momentum 360 as well as to Momentum your marketing aspect?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different ways, right? I would say internally for us in regards of like marketing and, helping us internally, we're doing a lot with blogs. I think so many people use AI the wrong way when it comes to blogs. They only rely on AI to write the entire blog and they don't, autocorrect it or whatever. So Google actually penalizes them. So I think we're one of the only companies that does AI blog writing the best. And this is a service we actually provide to our clients. Other than that, we'll have, you know, AI animations and video creations. There's a lot of these very funny social media trends out there. Like I'm sure you saw, like there's one that's like a realtor starter pack, entrepreneur starter pack, kind of stuff. So we experiment with like all the different trends and like the cool AI integrations and stuff. And then I would say externally for our clients, for the actual services we're providing, AI is actually very helpful with virtual staging. So, you can see the background behind me. It's like, I guess, some sort of a loft. It's that kind of stuff. So, if you shoot a residential property and it's completely vacant, we can actually make it look like the background behind me, which is pretty cool. On top of that, we also use AI to, create a lot of avatars and characters inside of these videos that aren't there when we shoot them. So, it's going to get kind of weird, man, in the next couple of years because AI is going to get so good. Not only are you not going to be able to tell what videos are shot and which videos are AI, but you're not going to be able to tell like even the characters and just the voices and just stuff that's very personal. You're not even going to be able to tell that. So it's a very, very interesting, I want to say, period we're in civilization.
Absolutely. Even I am curious what kind of platform or what kind of tech might come in the future and how we can, especially as a marketing tool or as of a sales tool, how we can use. So, shifting the focus from Memento to your personal journey, I would like to understand like what inspired you and what challenged you to start and come into a shift from a podcast, because I believe you were running a podcast business as well. But what made you shift from podcast to B2B marketing or a digital marketing company?
It was out of necessity. It was out of necessity. I had some family things going on at the time. My father, when I literally went to college, he was in prison. Actually, if you can believe that, I'm sure you've seen the Wolf of Wall Street movie. Jordan
Yeah.
Belfort, very very similar thing that my father did. So I was lost. I needed, a path and career, and I'm a pretty religious fellow. I believe in Jesus. I'm very religious on the Christian side. I was asking him and calling him, hey, I need something. I need a sign, give me a sign because I'm very lost right now. And I could have easily spiraled down the, alcohol and drug. And I was in college. I was a freshman in college. I could have easily been dissuaded by that. But thankfully, I found marketing and I fell in love with it. To be able to actually put a business online to get leads. And there's just something very desirable about that. Not in terms of how much money I can make, because it's very fruitful, but how much value and how much good I can actually do and give to a business owner. So that's ultimately what happened. And then I think it was about 6 months after I was in my freshman year and I found Mac, my business partner. And it's funny, I actually contacted him a year before I started like the sales internship just so I can kind of learn more about it. And he's like, so let me get this straight. You're trying to contact me a year in advance for a position? Like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, well, I don't know anything right now. I can't be of much value right now to you, but give me a year and I'll be able to provide my value. And I'd like to say that I did. I came from, sales intern. I was a account manager, and now I'm a partner and co-founder in the firm. I own equity in Momentum, and I'm going to be buying more pretty soon, actually. So it's a great story, man. I think I'm not, I don't think I'm very different than a lot of people. I think I just needed to find something. I found it. I love what I do. and I just work my tail off and I'm consistent. I think consistency and hard work in today's day and age is, people find all these, you know, what do they call it? Golden bell syndrome, shiny object syndrome. I think just putting your head down, being consistent day after day is one of the best things for you. My dad always would tell me, and he still does. He says, hard work is good for the soul. And I firmly believe that. I firmly believe the time where we take it easy and like we're always on vacation and stuff, that's actually where we truly die. I think our true selves and our spirit is really leveraged when we're working and when we're providing something for somebody. Because outside of, at least for me, making love to a woman, the next best thing I can do for somebody is actually providing service or value, in my opinion. So,
Wonderful, wonderful story. So, Sean, in marketing, what do you see in the current industry is the biggest challenge, and how do you feel like the industry or momentum can overcome that challenge?
yeah, I mean, I think the biggest challenge right now, at least for us, is how do we leverage more AI? And I think a lot of companies are trying to, fix this problem. And it's all based on the technology we have available. I think it's a limitation in what the AI can currently do, but it's also understanding what AI can and cannot do, which hand raised, I don't have a perfect answer to your question. I just know that's a challenge we're currently battling. But I think the person in the agency that can figure out AI and be consistent with it and can provide value internally with marketing and website stuff and creative and hiring and team members and making balance sheets and accounting and all that stuff, and then externally with the actual product or service that we're providing, I think is really going to build more market share. Doesn't matter, digital marketing, so you can be working anywhere in the world. I think that's really where someone's going to come up and get more traction and actually truly grow their business, I would say.
Absolutely. AI is something everybody is looking forward to. Sean, can you tell me one case study, a success story that you have achieved so far?
Yeah, I can tell you a lot. The one that comes to mind on the 360 side of things is our work with Midas. If you're familiar, or maybe not, the people listening, Midas, the car repair company, they have decent, share in the industry. Think of like your Firestones of the world, your Pet Boys of the world. Those are their main competitors. So back in 2023, Midas actually contacted us and wanted us to do about 2,300 of their locations across the United States, which was an unbelievable challenge for a lot of reasons, but it was a good challenge. It was something that I really looked forward to. And I'm happy to say we shot all 2,300. We were able to provide at least a 15% increase in impressions and clicks to their Google business profile within a period of about a year, which to each store, I don't know the revenue basis off of that, but I know it was several tens of thousands of dollars of an increase, which to them is invaluable based on what they paid us. So I'm really happy for that. I would say we probably ended up generating them probably several $1 million more total to their business, which in my opinion is, that makes me very happy that we did that. But I think it's a good case study because we really, they're family now. I can go and call them and, get a coffee and get a dinner with them. And it's great. So that's actually one of the better case studies I can give you for what we did.
Wonderful. That's an amazing story and some amazing numbers. So, Sean, to end our conversation today, as a business leader, I would like to understand and know from you, or give, or if you can give any advice to our audience who are listening, the challenges of a business leader and a startup entrepreneur, and how do we overcome them?
For sure. So I'll give you two pieces of advice for people that are starting out and people who are kind of they've started, they have some initial success. So the people that are starting, you really want to find something that you like to do, you can make a living at, and that you're naturally good at. I think if you have those three things, you really can't lose because you're going to get to enjoy it every day. You make a living off of it, and you're naturally just good at it. So why not continue doing what you're good at, right? And just being consistent. I think, when I was first starting out, when I was in college, 2018, 2019, 2020, when, that's when I graduated college is 2020. I really was just consistent. I maxed out all the hours in the day, networking, figuring out what I wanted to do, what I didn't want to do, and what I needed to do to grow the business. And a lot of times you just need to start And the opportunities will really present itself to you. The answers to your questions will be solved based on the work that you do. And I think a lot of people now they want to buy these Lambos and flex for Instagram, but it's the wrong work because if you don't have a concrete core level of understanding of what you're actually doing and what you're actually providing, you're not going to have the confidence later on to actually be able to sell it, even though you think you might because you have all these Lamborghini posts and whatnot because you don't understand what you're doing. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is when you have some initial success and maybe entrepreneurs that have been doing this for about 5+ years, what do you do? How do you scale? I would recommend if you at least hit your first million in revenue, you want to venture out and see what else you can do on a service side to get more people in the door, whether that's a low ticket item, ultimately upselling to a higher ticket item, or vice versa. There's so many different things to do. I would just say try to find a mentor. There's a lot of great resources out there. Score.org is a great one. And there's a lot of people you can connect with too. If you really want it, you can connect with anybody in the world and get their feedback and hell, maybe even, pay for their time, pay for a phone call. I don't like to do the whole coffee approach because it's kind of like outdated a little bit. If you have the cash, which if you're 5 years in, you've done a lot better than the numbers say. What is it? 80, 90% of businesses fail within the first 5 years, right? So take some cash, put it to a good mentor who you truly trust and believe in, and see what you can do on that front. And that's what I would recommend if you're starting out and if you're already got some success.
Wonderful. That's some great advice. Thank you so much, Sean, for taking time and accepting our invitation to join our channel today. It's been a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the time.